There we go. All right.
Here
we are. We're back. Children, we are.
Me and Connor are at war.
Well, we started, and we're starting early, apparently, because I wanted to go to ChatGPT and look something up really quick. So go for it, yapping
This
yapper.
podcast is sponsored by ChatGPT.
Basically.
Looking for a way to, I don't know, I couldn't think of something. Me and Connor are celebrating my birthday weekend.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I'm going to do now. It's the 11th anniversary of my 21st birthday. And so I think I'm going to go blackout at the club. What do you think?
No.
Want to hear some funny story you've probably never heard about my 21st?
I'm sure.
It's just funny. It's
Go
nothing
for it.
bad. So we went to Damn Good, which is a damn good sports bar in the Tropicana in Atlantic City. And I'm trying to think. It wasn't where I got my first drink. I don't remember. Anyway, so my friend Taylor, who I really wanted to come out with us, forgot her ID in the car. And she was like 26. Like there was no reason she couldn't get into the bar. There was no issues, but she like in Atlantic City, the parking garage is a 45-minute walk away. Not really, but too far to want to do in heels for sure. She forgot her ID, and the back of the Trop, or the back of Damn Good, has like metal rail window things. And so I slid her my ID. I was like, just use mine, duh. And she was like, I can't use your ID on your birthday. And she gave it to the bouncer like no more than 6 minutes after I was in there.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, happy 21st, you know, and they're looking at her and they're just like, whatever.
Yeah.
We frequented there often enough that when I turned 21 there, they were like, haven't you been here for 2 years?
Now that you say that sentence, I know the story.
But yeah, I'll never forget. I'm like, blonde hair, blue eyes, babe. What are they going to say? No? Like, yeah, they could have taken my ID. But
Okay, but let's also be very accurate about you at 21. It was blonde hair, blue eyes, and tits.
Tits.
So much tits.
Yeah, no more titties.
For a little while.
Might throw a little.
Throw a few CCs in those bitches.
The other day I said something about a boob job, and Jesse was like, didn't you have your boobs removed? I was like, yeah, but hear me out. Like, I did get them removed, but I need a little oomph.
I need some cleavage. I need to feel some cleavage in my sports bras. But all right, now we can get on topic.
Now that we've talked about
Welcome.
boobs.
We're back, yapped and yoked, and
Heavy on the app.
Heavy on the app today. We are in better moods than we have been in several months for the both of us.
Shout out carbs.
Shout out carbs. Shout out no more prep PEDs. Shout out no more sales job causing anxiety. And we are our best selves today. Oh. Now, on top of being our best selves, the topic we have for you guys is
about being your worst self.
It's about being a failure. And no, in reality, that is the topic. So what's the actual title of this one for me?
Basically, why being bad at something is your superpower.
Yes.
And I originally started thinking about this the other day because I was like, wow, crazy thought. But all of the things that I'm really good at now that are prevalent in my day-to-day that allow me to define myself as successful, I would argue, a good wife, a good athlete, a good salesperson, I mean, the list goes on and on, good CEO, are things that I was really, really bad at.
Yes.
And like, not because I was just bad at them, but because I was new at them.
Yeah. And
I think that we put so much emphasis on like rewarding people that are naturally good at things. But I'll always, always, always go back to what I used to say as a gymnastics coach, which is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work. Mm-hmm. And I can't tell you how many times I watched a naturally gifted kid slack off, not work as hard, not condition as hard, not run as many drills. And, you know, you can only stay on top of a group of 10 plus children so well. And when the naturally gifted one who you typically gravitate towards giving attention to because they're going to make you look the best is the slacker in the group, but the kid that it doesn't come naturally to is the fucking workhorse. You show up to a meet and maybe a couple times that talented, naturally gifted kid is like just going to cream them. But eventually that day comes where it clicks for the non-gifted child. And you're like, okay, so you're a fucking superstar because not only did you have to work twice as hard, but now you've established like muscle memory and work ethic that you're going to continue to beat the talented kid.
And then more than anything too, the thing I like to take away from that is that that person who worked so hard for that success, you're right. They take that skill set and that work ethic and carry it for the rest of their lives. But from that day forward, where they beat the talent because hard work outpaced it, now that individual, their trajectory is so different because the person who was just talent-based now walks out of that meet or walks out of that competition in a terribly different mindset.
Well, they've never lost before.
And that's the thing. So, that individual is now going to be the point person for the definition of, well, do you now look at your failure where you didn't put in work, you're talented, are you going to now work harder on top of your talent? Or are you going to say, you know what, fuck this, I'm not good at it anymore because that kid beat me and just back away? And you see that happen more often than not.
Yeah, and I, there's a couple of different things we're going to talk about on this, but I just think about bringing it even to just the bodybuilding world. Like, I was never a bad bodybuilder, and I definitely would say genetically I've always been a little bit better off than a lot of people, for sure. But, you see these coaches post or these athletes post, and they're like, first prep, like insane genes. And I definitely didn't have that moment. But I think about the people that go pro instantaneously or like have just quick success in the sport. And I'm like, I just don't know that I would have the same appreciation.
No.
And one of the best compliments I ever got working at my old sales job from my boss was, you're scrappy. And I think the scrappy people, like, we get pushed down and we're like, cool, I'm going to figure it the fuck out.
And that
I'm
goes
going
to
to
our
find another
conversation
route.
Yeah.
I'm going to do what I have to do. I'm going to get so fucking creative, because it took Lila Hormozy looking at one of my sales calls and destroying me. And me being like, oh my God, I have to quit my job. Like, I literally cannot show my face here ever again. To be like, you know what? I'm in a very fortunate position where one of the best salespeople, arguably one of the best saleswomen in the world, maybe the best, just gave me feedback, and I actually need to use that as an advantage. And what was it? 90 days later, I had the best rate in the country, closing rate in the company of all time.
And that just goes back to the point of mentality around it.
Yeah.
Because that moment right there where you said, you know what, I can't show my face here ever again, is a major catalyst for either failure or success. Because you could have rode that shit all the way into bed and said, you know what, fuck it. I was just torn to pieces. Most people would have. And something that we can tie this into, you mentioned bodybuilding just prior, and like that figure it out mentality. That's going to be a whole separate episode.
I think that's a separate episode for sure.
Because you and
me and Connor went on a tangent.
Our life is literally just the definition of, I'll figure it out. But we'll come back to that and dive deeper into it for sure.
Yeah, that's like a two-parter, honestly, if we start talking childhoods and siblings. And
so they called you Scrappy? Go get her. That was it.
And
that was
I've
what I
heard
was
that
called.
one too.
But no, tying it into bodybuilding, like you mentioned, you've been with me the bulk of my coaching career. Yeah. There was maybe like a year and a half I coached 10 guys that I coached kind of prior to meeting you. I wouldn't even call it coaching because I was not anywhere near what a coach should have been back then.
Industry was
but
a lot
anyway,
different.
How many clients have you seen come through my roster who I still have in my archive on my computer, where I looked at them on our initial consults or in person at the gym and I'm like, yo, if you can buckle down for a year and take this seriously, like that McKenzie guy from Prodigy in Colorado, if he could have buckled down and taken bodybuilding seriously, he could have been making full. I mean,
he'd be on the O stage by now.
100%. He could have been making full income and more just being a professional bodybuilder. But the guy just wanted to train how he wanted to train, never wanted to eat a meal that was on plan, and didn't want to do anything that required discipline or actual action to make something happen. Yeah. I have probably 20 clients in my past where that was just the case. Like, you have potential, but you need to work for it. Yeah. And then nothing ever came of it. And the one thing I'm going to pin it with this, if I go back and look at all of their Instagrams now,
they're not bodybuilding.
They've never bodybuilded at all.
Yeah.
Or they maybe did one show and never came back.
And that's the reality of the situation is I am super duper split down the middle at most times, because I can look at most people who tell me I want to do a bodybuilding show and be like, do it. Because I do think that whether you're going to be good on stage, whether you're going to really truly look the part, the 16, 20 or whatever amount of weeks that it requires, I think that that is a skill set and self-development that nothing else in this world can give you.
Agreed.
And maybe sure, like other pro sports, but like the barrier to entry in other pro sports, it's like you can't, you can't just decide tomorrow you're going to go be an NBA player. It's like you can really learn a lot about yourself in this setting, whether it be a natural show, a summer shredding show, something where the ante isn't so high.
A 75 hard.
A 75 hard. And I've compared bodybuilding to a 75 hard. When I did 75 hard, I was like, I might as well just do a fucking bodybuilding prep at this point because it's one and the same.
When you take it as seriously
as I did.
As you did. Yeah, it's one and the same.
For sure. But that's why I look at just general conversation. I'm like, do it. Why? Every person should learn food. I had this conversation
100%.
yesterday. I don't care who you are. I don't care how long you're going to track. But I think at minimum, every adult should track food, macros, meal plan, something for 90 days minimum because nobody is taught, and it's a crucial skill set. Mm-hmm. Look at our country's epidemic, what a portion size is.
Yeah.
Do you know how much more successful I would have been at 20 years old had I learned that in high school instead of fucking square dancing?
Cha-cha slide?
Cha-cha slide, baby.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck, what was the name of that song? My school had a line dance for Promiscuous Girl, if that tells you a little bit about.
We did one like that too.
Sure,
it wasn't Promiscuous Girl, but we did.
I'm pretty sure that got me like real good entry into Pi Cap in college, but it definitely didn't help any other part of my life.
No, not even a little bit.
But then there's this other half of me, right? That's like, please respect the fucking sport.
Yes.
And so I walk this very thin line between like, if you have to wake up when you have an asshole boss, I'm talking about myself, you're working 16-hour days in the summer, you're fitting a lift, a cardio session, 10,000 steps, all of your shit on top of a more than full-time job, you're going to learn a lot about yourself. And obviously not everyone's life is set up like that, but the average person doesn't live the life we live in the bodybuilding space. Maybe at the pro level and maybe like in certain pockets of the country where bodybuilding's so prevalent. And so like Tampa is really unique where a lot of the bodybuilders here are set up the way we are. I would say the average high level bodybuilder doesn't work a 9 to 5 on average. Lots of content creators, sponsorships, work for yourself, sells insurance, whatever the case may be. They're not like necessarily clocking into a standard job.
Yeah.
It's going to require you to figure your shit out. And we face our own set of challenges. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to look a gifted horse in the mouth, but like we talk about it all the time. Like how much more simple do we think bodybuilding would be some days if I was on a clock, didn't have to like sit at home and think about my next meal? Like there are benefits to being fucking busy, but
it's benefits to being regimented. It's benefits to having a schedule. For
sure.
Like sorry if this is a tangent, but like for most people I notice that they fail with food, nutrition, they fail with bodybuilding. It's the younger generation who doesn't have a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
It's the younger...
Or hasn't ever had one ever.
Has never had a 9 to 5 ever.
College.
Never had college. And the younger generation who is now in this weird boat of... I genuinely feel so bad for the younger generation because they're in this weird boat of watching individuals like us, 30 years old, we've established a business, we are successful in our own right, but they're watching us do this, which is not the norm.
And they're comparing.
Like, oh, well, that's what my life can look like. And it's like, well, no, in 10 years, I've built this with my wife because I went through college and I learned how to learn. I went through corporate America for 5 years. I learned how to be an employee, to be a professional, to show up on time, to deal with the fear of being fired when I fucked up and built a skill set to be able to push in this direction, to build this.
Yeah.
But the younger generation doesn't get that perspective because all they see is this now.
True. And I think too, like a huge part of that, you can tell me your opinion, but the way that social media is a highlight reel, let's be honest, when somebody looks at, say, us, right? We're struggling in the background from time to time.
Oh, yeah.
But people look at us and because of the highlight reel, they're like, oh, overnight success.
Yeah. And that's so funny you say that, because that's where I've been getting a lot of conversation lately, and from new clients, which I've been so grateful for.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, how'd you do this? How'd you do this? How'd you do this? I'm like, guys, I've been doing this since I was 18. Yeah. I'm 31 next week.
Yeah.
So like, ew. It's not, yeah, if I'm old, you're older tomorrow. But I've been doing this since I was 18. So as much as it's like, cool, Connor, what are you doing right now that's creating this success for you? It's like, it's not what I'm doing right now that's creating this success for me. It's all the shit that I did failing upwards from 18 to the age of 29. Well, I'd say that 11 years right there was a catalyst, a learning experience, developmental era that then allows for this to be what my life looks like at 31.
It's that wives' tale of like, then the electrician comes to the house. He points at a wire, says, I need to fix that. It's going to be $200. He said, it took you 2 minutes. Why is it $200? He said, because you're not paying for the 2 minutes it took me to diagnose and fix the problem. You're paying for the 20 years it took me to get to the point where it takes me 2 minutes to fix the problem.
And back to the point, though, of this entire episode, that 20 years that electrician built his skill set, you know how many times he probably electrocuted himself? Hundreds.
Yeah.
Hundreds of times.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where that comes from. There's success built on top of failure.
Yeah.
Now, let's bring this back around. My favorite
Connor's so good. That's why I started giggling when you're like, and on that, I'm like, of course he found a hole to bring it back around.
Stay on topic. We like our tangents, but I like to stay pointed. But when we started this episode, I was like, this is perfect because we can relate it to ourselves. We can relate it to bodybuilding, which is our industry and our fitness.
Yeah.
And everything.
Sure, it's our everything.
But let's relate it. let's relate it to what people can understand.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan didn't make his varsity basketball team.
Yeah.
Tom Brady was the 199th overall pick in his draft year. Greatest. I mean, honestly, I think Tom Brady's a Taylor Swift fan, so I think that jives.
Sure.
Greatest quarterback of all time. Michael Phelps didn't qualify for the 2000 U.S. Olympics. Greatest, most winningest next to Simone.
I think he has her beat because they have more opportunities.
Yeah, to win medals, so greatest and most winningest medalist of all time.
Goldest medalist.
And then bring it into our bodybuilding space. Ronnie Coleman was last and then 9th, I believe. That might not be entirely correct, but if
it's incorrect, please assault Connor.
Yeah, please just tear me apart in the comments. But then became the greatest bodybuilder of all time, to the point where people look at him the same way people look at Tom Brady, the same way people look at Michael Phelps, where it's like, cool, we know that exists. No one's ever touching it. Yeah. No one's touching it. But all of those stories start with failure.
Yeah.
Embracing of that failure and continuance of pursuit of their craft, of their goal, and then becoming the greatest in their respective sport of all time. Yeah. But we now live in an era where participation trophies are being handed out and dopamine's being dripped into people's brains that don't fucking deserve it. And then you have this vast gap between perceptions where it's like, well, I failed. I still got rewarded with a fucking participation trophy, or I succeeded at the highest level and people don't see the failures that occurred prior to that success.
Right.
So now everybody in the middle, they don't have an honest understanding of what failure should mean to them. Failure should mean, okay, now I have another opportunity to try again and do it better and get better.
Right.
People look at it and say, oh, I failed. I can't do this. I quit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like if you think about any Olympian, like when you see, I'll use the gymnastics team, for example, because that's really the ones I follow, but like Suni Lee, she got bronze on some things and whatever. She's been in the last 2 Olympics. And like between the 24 and the 2021 technically Olympics, like she lost her dad, she lost somebody else, she had like liver failure, or might have been a different organ, but like all these things. And then she wins a medal and everyone's like, huge success. And she's like, babes, I've been struggling for 6 years, you know? And like, we just look at like the one thing in that moment and deem somebody like a success. And it's like, absolutely, they are factually successful. They were factually successful 4 years ago, and she almost quit because she didn't think she could keep competing without her dad, her biggest fan and her best friend there. But like, there's, you know, trials and tribulations and everything. And honestly, like, I made a reel about this with my content page that I'm growing right now for a collaboration I'm working on. But like, the only difference 99% of the time between you and the person you're looking at going, that's a success, that's the goal, is they tried one more time than you, or they tried 3 more times
Their
than you.
willingness to be completely unashamed of trying.
Yeah.
And that's really
it.
Willingness to try.
And you can vouch for this, but like, I have a severe issue with failure.
Well,
and
I was just
in EMDR, my therapist was like, okay, let's figure that out. Like, what is failing to you? And I'm like, not winning. And she's like, okay, there's so much more to that than that. So like, what about not winning? And to me, it was just like, not being perfect, not being good enough, being told growing up that like, you're so easy to get along with, you're so easy to blend in with the adults. It's like, it was just perfection and like, perfection, because in order to like be agreed with or pleasant to have around or like not being in trouble, it was, I had to be perfect, otherwise it was like shame and all of these things. And so it looks so different for everyone, but it's so rooted in like the individual and upbringing and so many other things. Why are you laughing at me?
All right, so a quick break from our topic. We're going to talk about Bluetooth connection. So Summer and I have a symbol. We do this. It's called Bluetooth.
We
Bluetooth syncs. We do this very
often.
nauseatingly frequently.
Sometimes I'm like,
where
are we wired?
I'll be thinking about a topic that like
it can be out of the clear goddamn blue
out of the fucking clear blue. Like I'm just driving, listening to music, and like this is just random thoughts happening in my brain, and like 30 seconds later she'll be like, hey, so like this is super off topic, but remember that time we were talking in the car about
Utah 6 years ago?
About Utah 6 years ago? I'm like, why the fuck are you on that topic? Because my brain was just there.
Yeah.
My next question to you in this entire segment was going to be, what do you think the difference is between it creates the personality types?
Yeah.
And how their perceptions are of failure, because you and I are exact opposites in that regard.
So me and Connor were talking about this last week with his show, and he was like, my idea of failure would be like not getting on stage. And I was like, my idea of failure is getting on stage and not being first. And like, that just goes to show like,
well, even more so, look at what happened to me in Legion.
Yeah.
I took 11th. I thought I was going to be 9th, super disappointed by that, but it is what it is. But I took 11th. I knew I was in that mix between 9 and 12 when I got off stage at prejudging. However, I got off stage at prejudging and I looked at my coach and I'm like, dude, I don't give a fuck where I placed. I'm so happy with how I looked, how everything went, how the peak was, how the prep was. Like, I'm extremely happy. I'm proud. Do you feel the same? And he said, yes. And to me, that was what I wanted. That was
I'm just laughing because I'm going to say something in a second.
Opposite. To me, that was the moment that I wanted to happen, and it is what it is, because I have a perception that that's not failure.
Yeah.
Because I know the sport that I'm in, I understand where I'm at. I also have, more than most people, a stupidly firm grasp on reality. So I can look at things and call a spade and be completely okay with it.
Yeah.
However, my wife, my beautiful Summer right here, is the absolute fucking opposite. Please, divulge.
Well, it's just, I'm laughing because I'm flashing back to the Denver Open when I took second, and I literally like spontaneously combusted and almost canceled our dinner plans on our friends that were in from out of state. I don't do well with the second place.
No.
At all. But the first time I was ever okay with not being in first was at Universe, and I feel like I walked off with a clear head. We'll probably never see that again.
In all honesty, though, like it also does come back though to some similar self-perception deal.
Oh, for sure.
Some
I was able to look at the girls
at
at BB and be like, okay, cool, I'm there. I just need a little bit more muscle.
Well, you were also able to look at yourself.
Yeah, it was the first time I was happy with.
Oh shit, I've never looked like this before.
Yeah.
Even though in my mind, getting off stage not winning is by definition failure, sure. But
don't feed into it.
I'm not. But when you get off stage and you look that good, and you can look at the physique, you can look at what you brought and say, oh shit, I did that. It might not
and you
have
can
won,
look
but
at those pictures too and be like, not a shell of a human, like genuinely just happy. Like I have some pictures you took on my Sony of me taking a selfie in like a TikTok video, and like I'm just beaming. Like,
yeah, because you saw it for yourself.
Yeah. But I think it just, and this is a lot of things too, but coming back to like the kid that never failed publicly, like I didn't fail much as a kid at anything. I was always pretty good at things. I was naturally really good at things. And I think from a very young age, I shied away from things I knew I would be bad at. So there's a lot of things that I never did. I don't know, like looking back, that I didn't necessarily do them because I knew I wouldn't be good at them. But I think I looked at it and was like, it doesn't make or break my life. I don't need to do it. It's going to be hard work. I can focus that on other things like gymnastics. So like, did I go do ski trips with my friends? No, because in 8th grade, I didn't want to learn how to ski. I didn't want to be bad at it when my friends were already ripping down fucking mountains. Yeah. So like, could I have done that? And now at 30 years old, been like, yeah, let's go skiing because I learned and I sucked it up when I was in 8th grade. Yeah. Sure, but like, it wasn't something I was so hard pressed to do that I needed to go execute on. So it's interesting, but yeah, I mean, like coming back to gymnastics, there's a reflection I want to make. So I was a terrible bar athlete. I would say vault, floor, most similar. Beam has some of those similarities. The dance, the aggro, the tumbling, just difficult in its own regard. Bars is unlike any of the other two because you're just swinging, you know? Like there's no tumbling, there's no shapes are the same, but like you're not
bouncing on a beam.
No.
You're flying through the air.
Yeah, and that's, sometimes I look at gymnastics, I'm like, such an odd series of things we put together here. But, you know, you'll find that a lot of girls are like really strong at one or two events. Obviously, they're specialists in events. And every 4 years when you listen to them picking the team, you're going to hear the, you know, top coaches be like, we are really making this final decision on the slot based on X. It's typically bars because bars is the hardest to get somebody great at because typically we can get 3 to 4 people really good at those other 3. And it's like we have a huge hole on bars, right? And so I look back at myself and I was horrid at bar swinging. Like, did not come naturally, was not good at it. Because I wasn't good at it, did not like it, had to work way harder at it than the other girls. But like I could fuck off on a floor any day. Like my happiness over there. But as a coach, it was so interesting to see the switch because I was an okay beam coach. I was an okay floor and vault coach. I definitely had to like work a little bit harder to coach those. But bars, I could coach that shit with my eyes closed. And the reason I attribute it to is because I had to work so much harder as an athlete to understand the mechanism that as a coach, it already computed in my brain how to teach it because I sat there racking my head on it for 12 years being like, how the fuck? So when I was like, it wasn't just like, oh, duh, do this, like how I would sometimes get with floor and those other events because I was like, it's just so easy. You just do it. Yeah. Like with bars, I had a really good understanding of explaining the execution and how do your hands need to be and how do your arms, because I literally had to like train myself to understand it. So again, coming back to it being your superpower, the thing you're really bad at that you have to work really hard to get good at, you're probably going to be really good at as an expert in the future. If you put that time in to truly learn and understand it.
100%. I couldn't agree more. And the one thing I'm going to tie that to is like when you mention you're doing gymnastics and there's other girls on the floor who are good at other events. I look back to my younger years. I had 3 best friends that I've spent basically from 8 years old up till the moment I was 20. Yeah. Inseparable.
Sure.
Greg, didn't matter what sport you put him in. He was good. Brady was always faster than me. Miles was better at the drums. We all played similar sports. I was in band with Miles. They were all better than me at something. I was never great at anything. Basketball. I love basketball. I have been terrible at basketball my entire life. But do you know what I played for 3 hours a day, every day in college with D2 basketball players who would beat the shit out of me? Basketball. Because I loved it. Even though I was bad at it, my roommates would talk so much shit and make fun of me and never stop. But I never stopped playing because I loved it. And then wouldn't you know, at my senior year, I'm playing on the practice squad with the D2 basketball team because I was good enough to hang.
Yeah.
So like, one, keep people around you who are better than you at shit because they will level you up. And two, if you love something, it doesn't matter if you're bad at it, just keep fucking doing it. And if you want to, the failure, the whatever shame and embarrassment, the hundreds of air balls I threw up that I should have passed off instead.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Just keep doing it because it just genuinely doesn't matter. And then eventually, over time, you get better at it.
Well, and also when you're having fun doing it, you just get better at it because there's less pressure.
And but that's the perception of it.
I thought we synced together.
No, that's the perception of it though. Like I could have sat back and said, wow, my roommates are really harsh. And like, man, I did shoot an air ball and like we lost the game because of my air ball and I could have just never played basketball again. Yeah. But no, I was like, I love this. This is fine. I don't give a shit what they're saying. And yeah, whatever, we lost, but it was a rec game. Who gives a shit? Like, cool, let's go play again tomorrow. Yeah. And do it again. Still get cursed out, still get made fun of, but just keep on doing it. Yeah. But nobody has enough of a backbone anymore to say, it's okay that I'm not great. I'm going to continue to do the thing I want to do. And your success in your career, your relationship, your success in bodybuilding, fitness, whatever direction you decide to go, if you stop at the first obstacle or you stop at your first failure, you're never going to experience what it's like to potentially succeed at that endeavor or experience the impact of what it's like to say, oh shit, I got better at this.
Well, and the fruit of the labor. Like, it's just so much better when, like how I said earlier, I don't know that I would have appreciated bodybuilding. I'd probably be done by now had I gone pro my first season because it's like everyone always says the journey to go pro is going to be way funner than your pro career. And I'm sure for top Olympians who are in the sport for so long, like they have tons and tons of excellent memories as pros, and that's awesome. But I don't know that you appreciate it quite the same if there's instant gratification.
I agree.
And I do think, like, sometimes I look at my journey and I'm like, God, can I get there already? Because I've had health obstacles and switching shows and firing coaches and things. But at the end of the day, I can appreciate that, like, I'm scrappy. I'm still here.
Damn straight you are.
You know, like, it's developed me in ways that other things never would have. And I attribute bodybuilding truly at its root to the reason I have a business, the reason I found a husband, the reason that I'm successful in a lot of things, because the person I was when I started bodybuilding, while I would still say tenacious, not nearly as scrappy. I've always had good work ethic, I will say, but it's so much more intense.
It develops you.
It truly does.
So I think that wraps things very nicely. And if you want to take it from two people who have been bad and are bad at a lot of shit, but also pretty damn good at a few things.
Yeah, and you know what I'm really bad at?
Shutting the fuck up?
Topgolf, which you're dragging me to.
Damn it. I was so close. You're bad at both. But I think that goes to point. Yapped and yoked.
I'm yapped.
I'm yoked. And that's another episode.